Welcome back to Casino Discipline. It's been a couple months since the last episode, but we're finally back at it. Life got busy and the table had to take a bit of a back seat, but I'm ready to get this build moving again. So let's pick up right where we left off. This is episode 6 of the Casino table build, and today I'm starting on the base for the chip rails and the padded armrests that will eventually wrap around the entire outside of the table. I'm building this base in 3 separate pieces. There will be one piece wrapping around each short end of the table. Each of those pieces starts near the dealer's area, runs down the side, and wraps around the 2 corners. Then the third, a straight section, will connect everything across the opposite side. For the base, I'm using 1/2 inch OSB. Now obviously OSB isn't going to give us much of a casino table look, but none of this will be visible when everything's finished. Eventually this outside section will get foam padding and be wrapped in a black vinyl. Right now I'm mainly concerned with getting the shape right and creating a solid foundation for everything that's going to be built on top of it. Because of the shape of the table, I can't just take a couple measurements and cut a rectangle. I need to transfer these curves onto the OSB so that the finished rail follows the shape of the table underneath. And I'm taking my time getting this first one right because this piece also is going to become my template for the opposite end. If I get this one right, I only have to do all of this measuring once, and both ends should come out identical. With all of the measurements transferred, I can now start connecting everything and laying out my final cut lines. I'm going back over all the lines with a black Sharpie so I've got something that's easy to see and follow once I get out into the garage. What I'm creating here is both sides of the rail base. I need the outside profile that gives me the overall shape of the padded rail, and then the inside profile that follows the existing walls of the table. The big thing I'm looking for is a smooth, consistent curve. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect because all these edges will be eventually covered with foam and vinyl and rubber. But I do want those curves to flow naturally around the corners. And since I'm going to use this piece as a template for the opposite end, any mistakes I make here is probably going to get duplicated over there. So this is definitely one of those times where the old adage applies: measure twice, cut once. With the layout finished, it's out to the garage. I've got the OSB supported on my sawhorses and I'm using a reciprocating saw to follow the lines I just laid out. There are probably cleaner ways to make these cuts if you've got a full woodworking shop, but for what I'm doing here, the reciprocating saw does the work just fine. None of these raw edges are going to be visible when the table is finished. What truly matters is getting the overall shape right and staying as close as I can to those lines. Especially through the curves, I'm just taking my time and letting the saw do the work. Now I can move on to the inside section. This cut creates the opening that allows the rail base to sit over the existing walls while still giving me the overhang I need toward the playing surface. Again, I'm taking my time through the curves rather than trying to force the saw through them. And once I make my way around this final section, we've officially got the first complete piece of rail base. And now that the first piece is cut, all that extra time measuring the first piece starts to pay off. Instead of going back and recreating everything from scratch, I can use this finished section as a full-size template for the opposite end. I'll trace it onto the remaining OSB, and now I've got an identical second piece ready to cut. That saves time and, more importantly, keeps both ends symmetrical. Now it's just a matter of repeating the process. I'll cut the outside profile first, then make my way around the inside. Since all of the measuring and layout work has already been done, this second section goes quite a bit quicker. And there we go. Two matching sections. Before I take them back inside, I'm stacking the two pieces together to make sure everything lines up. The profiles match, so now let's see how they fit on the table. Back in the casino, I've got both sections sitting in place, and this is the first time we can really start to see the shape of the finished outside rail. I'm positioning this first section so I have a consistent 1-inch overhang around the inside of the table walls. That overhang is intentional because this base is eventually going to become part of the entire padded rail and chip rail system. Once I'm happy with the position, I can start securing the OSB directly to the top of the table walls. At this point, I'm not worried about making anything pretty. This is all structure. The foam, the vinyl, and finish work will take care of the appearance later. Right now, I just want a solid foundation underneath everything. Now I'll repeat the same process on the opposite end. Again, I'm checking that 1-inch inside overhang, getting everything positioned where I want it, and I secure it with 1.25-inch drywall screws. With both curved ends installed, I've only got one section left. The side directly across from the dealer is just a straight piece connecting the two ends. So I measured that opening and cut the final piece of 1/2-inch OSB to length and secure it in the same way. And with that last piece screwed down, the foundation for the entire outside rail is officially in place. And there we have it. The rail base is finished. Next time we'll start building the actual chip rails, and this table should really start taking on that finished casino look. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss episode 7. And remember, structure beats luck.